This is episode 85 of the After Gambling Podcast. And in this episode, I'm going to start a war. Hey there, and welcome back to the After Gambling Podcast. It's been far too long, but my name is still Jamie, and I do this little podcast still to help other people like myself that struggle with a gambling addiction, tried to quit or trying to quit, looking for recovery, whatever the case may be. Maybe you have a friend or family member, or you just somehow stumbled upon this, whatever brought you here. I'm glad you're here. And just do this little podcast to hopefully help all of you out. And most importantly, and the topic of today, help myself out. Now, over the last year, it's been a difficult year like most people with COVID and lockdowns and changes just in overall life. Nothing specifically has been kind of out of the ordinary, but just a lot of stuff, right? I think we all have experienced so many changes that just made it for difficult. Doesn't mean it's a bad year, just means it's a difficult year. Ultimately, that's what brings me back here. You know, I love doing this podcast. It's something that I've always really enjoyed. I love reaching out and hearing people reach out. And one of the things I've really struggled with over the last year or even year and a half is that when I haven't done as many episodes, I get a lot of messages of people that hope for more episodes or that want to come on and share their story. And I haven't been able to kind of fulfill that or live up to that expectation over the last couple of years. And it's been something that's been difficult for me. But I'm coming back here and I'm excited. And I know I've said this before, but I'm excited about this one because it really is going to be focused on me over this next year. Obviously, it's been 11 years since I ran off the riverboat, but still there's certain things in my life that aren't where I want them to be. And I don't think this is unique. I don't think this is ever going to be different. There's always going to be things that I and others like you probably want to change. Maybe you want to get in a little better health. Maybe you want to pursue a new job, try to make a little bit more money or have better conversations, relationships, be around for your kids. I don't know what it is for you, but those are some of the big ones for me is I'm always looking to just improve whatever I'm doing at the moment, try to get a little bit better at it. And for the last year or so with COVID, I kind of felt like I started to get stuck in some things. And even over the last 11 years, there's been progress made, but I'm at the point now where I really want to just kind of focus in completely on self and really get some of these things that have been kind of nagging at me for a long time, just see some progress being made and start working towards the goal that I know I can achieve. Now, I have this day at a time calendar that I absolutely love. I'll put a link in the show notes. I'm not affiliated to the company at all. It's called Sugar Poo & Company, but it's phenomenal. And every day you flip it over and there's a different quote. And a lot of them are just kind of inspirational or life quotes. I would tell you just kind of life, like good reminders about life. And today's for October 1st was, if we did all the things we were capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. Thomas Edison. Now, I thought that one was perfect for today, and this has been a day that I've been looking forward to. It's a new month, new quarter, and really want to, as I said, focus in on these areas of my life, and I'll be sharing them as I go because they're probably a lot of the same things that you want to work on in your life. And so my thought is that I can use you can use me, and even really focusing on putting together some like small groups around some of these topics about just growth and development, life after gambling. But in doing so, I want to do it in a little bit different way. And that makes sense because a lot of the ways I've done it in the past haven't worked. I'm still here, right? I'm still struggling with some of these topics, some of these things I've made some progress on, but maybe I fell back a little bit. But ultimately, the approach that I took in the past, I think was one that wasn't always healthy for me. It wasn't always good. And it's something that I think a lot of us struggle with is when we start to make changes, we almost feel like we have these two selves, right? And it's one of those things where we love this new part of ourselves, but we sort of despise this other side that sneaks in from time to time or that just wrecks our plans. I mean, back when we were gambling, it was our gambling self. Or when we were doing whatever thing that we did in the past that we don't really love, like those habits and behaviors that weren't always positive and often were completely negative. Like those things, it's hard to reconcile those, right? we look at ourselves and we're like, wow, on this hand, I'm really good and I do all these nice things. But on this hand, man, those things sort of suck. And it's something that I've always internalized and struggled to kind of, I guess, just kind of balance those things off or make sense of those. How can I be these two opposing people, like things seemingly going in completely opposite directions at times? And then I was listening to a book on tape that I really like, which is The Four Agreements. And he was talking about dreams. And he was talking about in our dreams, we have random thoughts, right? We dream. And these things, we don't really assign too much thought to them. I know people get into like analyzing dreams. Some people do. But most of the time, if we wake up, I mean, my daughter actually, this is a perfect day for it. She woke up and she had this dream that we were in Mexico on a vacation, and then we were going to go to Antarctica, but she only had shorts. So she's in Antarctica and she's got a jacket on and a sweatshirt on and a hood or a hat and shoes and socks. But she said, I was stuck with shorts and I was like all worried I was going to be so cold. And we just laughed about it, right? Because dreams are just dreams. We laugh about them. They're these thoughts that we don't have any control of them. They happen. And when I was reading the Four Agreements, and he was talking about dreams and how we don't associate any real value into our thoughts when we're dreaming, but we associate so much emotional connection. And we just, our thoughts that happen during the day, we treat completely different. We start thinking, oh my gosh, man, I'm a terrible person for thinking that. Or what does that say about me? Like we analyze the crap out of our thoughts during the day when they're just random thoughts. We've talked about that a lot on this podcast, that thoughts are just thoughts and we shouldn't be attached to them because they're just random. They happen. They may be some sequence of events that lead us to a thought. But where we get in trouble is when we try to overanalyze them. And for me, when I'm looking at myself, going back to that, trying to balance those two things, like, am I this person that is really ambitious, or am I this person that doesn't seem to be able to get things done? Like those two things are on opposite sides. And so when I was thinking about this, along with kind of thinking about the concept that dreams are the same as everyday thoughts, I started thinking, you know what? We need some way to separate the two and to emotionally disconnect from all of the thoughts and just behaviors that we don't like about ourselves, that we want to change. And so as I was thinking about this, I started thinking, you know what? It's almost like an alter ego. It's sort of like the angel and the devil. But for me, I need to go further. I needed to go beyond just kind of thinking there's an angel and a devil, because I still am both of those people. So I came up with this concept, and I want to share it with you because it's going to be the foundation of everything I do moving forward. And I want to kind of focus on it because I think it really is going to help me quite a bit. And I want to share it with you because I'm hopeful that's going to help you too. But it's this concept that we need to name our alter ego. We need to be explicit about all of the behaviors they are, and then realize that they are this person that comes into our lives and tries to wreck all of our plans. Now, for me, my real name is James, and so whenever I'm at the bank, people would call me Jim. And I don't really like being called Jim. It doesn't bother me, but I'm just like, my name's not James, or not Jim. It's James or Jamie. So my alter ego is Jim, and I've named Jim, and I've even started creating a list of all the things that Jim does that I can't stand. And Jim is a little bastard. Well, let's not beat around the bush. Jim is this dude that he comes in. He was my gambling self. Jim was the person that came in and said, you know what? You should go gamble. The heck with everybody else. The heck with your finances. Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be good. Like, Jim is the bad influence. And when he shows up, I need to kick his ass out. And that's why I said at the beginning, I'm starting a war. And no, it's not on Twitter. I know a lot of people probably thought I was going to start a war on Twitter. I'm trying to move beyond that, because the starting the wars on Twitter, that's Jim. That's not Jamie. That's not the person I want to be. That's not the stuff I want to do. And so I've been creating these lists and crafting these lists, and everything down from health to finance to relationships to everyday behaviors. And ultimately, I mean, talk about this podcast, and I would like to do it more. One of the things I'm not great at is scheduling and planning. That's Jim. And even there, like I said, I'm not. But where I switch it now is, okay, Jim, here comes Jim again. And I really treat it kind of in a playful manner. It's playful, but at the same time, Jim has to, I have to eliminate him. Like, it is a war. Like, we cannot coexist. But what I'm doing is I'm studying Jim. I'm paying attention to all the crazy stuff he does, the thoughts, the ideas that he brings in and with his strategies so that I can plan against him and we can go to war and I can start identifying when Jim starts to come in and say, okay, goodbye, Jim. And that's literally the thought that I have all the time now. I mean, this morning when I'm cleaning up, I would tend to like just kind of leave things or like half put things away. Oh, well, I'll put the dishes in the sink. Well, that's a Jim behavior. Jim just places the dishes in the sink. Jamie wants to get shit done and he puts them in the dishwasher. And so like all of these small little behaviors, identifying the ones that I like as my own and taking ownership of them, while the ones that I don't like, labeling as Jim and identifying and correcting them. My thought, and I have a lot of kind of reason behind why I think this will work. I won't go too deep into that, but other than to say, I think we get emotionally too connected and it becomes so draining on us and it kills all of our momentum. It kills all of our confidence when we're kind of trying to balance these things and say, okay, I want to be this person, but I keep being this other person. No. We need to separate these two things in my mind. Create a separate person with all these that we can assign all these bad behaviors, habits, activities to, and then go to war with that person. And because essentially one or the other is going to win. It's either going to be him winning the war or me winning the war. It's Jim's going to win or Jamie's going to win. And by separating these two, now I can feel like all of my activities, it's not that Jim's he's never going to completely go away. He's always going to be there. But now I don't take ownership of the shit that he brings into my life. I take ownership out of getting rid of him. And that's where kind of the control what we can control. And I think a lot of times this gets lost is we look at, okay, responsibility is a big topic. I'm not responsible for Jim's thoughts, but I am responsible for taking on Jim and every day trying to eliminate him, push him away. That's me being Jamie. So hopefully this is starting to make sense, and I'm sure I'll have more episodes on this topic. I know it's probably a little bit far out at first, but hopefully you'll start to like look into it and just play around with it. And I would encourage you, absolutely name your person. Pick out a name you don't like, and a name that you would definitely not name your child, right? You don't want it to be some kind of like cozy, lovable name. You want it to be something that you hear that name and it's like, oh no, not today. And then that's the other part of it is when you're going through and you're starting to make these lists, and I would encourage you, absolutely get out a piece of paper, maybe just fold it in half and put your name on one side and then your alter ego, the person that your nemesis is probably the perfect name for it, on the other side. And start to track those behaviors and do simple little things. Hey, he doesn't put away his dishes. He puts it in the dishwasher and he sticks to a task. He makes out a calendar, writes out his list of things to do today, and sticks to the task. Jim wants to hop on Twitter and surf Twitter for 2 hours and not get anything done. Put those things on list, but then also make it playful. I mean, be like, oh, here comes Jim again. Here comes Jim again. And don't take on all the ownership of your nemesis's thoughts and behaviors. Separate yourself from them. Know that who you want to be is who you want to be. And that ultimately what you need to do to get there is to win the battle with this person that lives in our heads, who we are going to slowly evict, one little piece at a time, one behavior at a time. So hopefully this is going to help you. And then, yeah, this is something, like I said, I'm going to start using this in all areas of my life. I've already started, but I'm really committing to, okay, it's October 1st. I want to see how much of Jim I can eliminate over the course of the next year. So when I'm looking at the calendar and it's 10/1/22, which is crazy to think, I'm going to be 40. Wow, I'll be 40 at that point. So what does 40-year-old Jamie look like, and how much of Jim that's piled up over the years? And that's the thing with these nemesis. They add up over the years. They come in and it's like these cute little behaviors they have. Oh, maybe you should try this. Maybe you should just do this. Maybe you don't need to go do this thing right now. They try to weasel their way in because they're evil. They don't want us to achieve our goals. They don't want us to be successful. They want to get in the way. And so we need to go to war with them, name their behaviors, and then just when they show up, we need to acknowledge it, name it, and say, nope, not today. Bye-bye, Jim. And so I'm going to start using the hashtag BBGym on Twitter whenever I have some of my gym behaviors. And I'm going to be using this, like I said, for scheduling. I want to do this podcast. Jim is the person that hops in and says, hey, you got all this other stuff. Or he goes in and, well, you don't need to schedule your week because you'll just get stuff done. Don't worry about it. And then all of a sudden it's been 6 months or 12 months and you haven't done an episode. That's a Jim behavior. That's a behavior I don't like. I don't want Jim to get in the way of me putting out podcasts. Jamie wants to put out podcasts. He wants to put them out regularly. He wants to help people. He wants to help himself in doing this. And so like separating those behaviors and naming them, now I'm able to identify them and start working through them. And ultimately it's just, I think we always have to have that nemesis. You see a lot of, the greats, it reminds me a lot of like Michael Jordan and Kobe. They would always say, I know somebody's out there working. And every day Jim is working in my head and in my life to try to get in and get in the way. And I'm sure you have a Jim in there as well. And they weasel their way in. And what we need to do is understand and separate and start saying, okay, this isn't a part of me. This is a piece of me that actually it's not a piece of me right there. And that's catching yourself in the language we use. Jim's not a piece of me. He is an outsider that's trying to come in and lead my life into a different direction. So start looking at those things and hopefully start trying to play around with this. See what you think. Let me know what you think about this. And definitely, I want to hear who you name your person, what your nemesis is name. I want to know what those names are. And as you start to track the behaviors, definitely shoot me an email. Say, hey, here's my nemesis. Here are their behaviors. And here's what I'm going after. Because I think that brings in a level of accountability. And that's something we all need. That's why I want to do this podcast. I'm bringing up the fact that Jim is the one getting in the way. I want to do these things because I like it when you reach out. I've had a bunch of emails. And while it bothers me, it bothers Jamie. But Jim's like, oh, no, just you'll get to it. You'll get to it. Well, no, Jamie's trying to take back control of Jamie's life. And Jim needs to go away. So definitely shoot me those names. Shoot me some of those behaviors that you notice as your behaviors versus your nemesis's behaviors. And I'll obviously just kind of message back and give you a quick comment on the names and I'll try and give you as much feedback as I can. But I think this is an approach that as we start working through all these areas of our lives, it's going to be able to be applicable and to be used in all of them. And I guess I'll give you kind of a glimpse into the stuff I'm going to be working on over the next year. I really want to work on all the areas of my life, and I'm going to be sharing those different areas on how to grow and develop them. Some things that I just never developed. Some things that I developed a little bit, but I want to get a little bit better at. So I'll be sharing, and they're going to be about relationships, about personal health and fitness, about business and work, finance stuff. And I'll be sharing those stories, and I'll be doing it through the framework of Jim versus Jamie. So we got a 1-year battle, which will actually be a lifetime battle. And that's, I guess, the way to close this up and wrap this up is once we start to name this nemesis, we understand that it's not us anymore. It's somebody else that's trying to come in. It sets us up with the right framework to move forward, but then to understand that this person is going to be relentless. They are that person that you just cannot get rid of. And if we can use them to our advantage and to just keep tracking all of their behaviors and start working against them, they won't have the control that they've had in their lives in the past. We will be back in control, and we're going to be able to reach our goals, reach the achievements we want to get a life that we really want to live. Because ultimately, if you're listening to this podcast, you want to improve your life. I'm doing this podcast because I want to improve my life. I want all of these areas to continue to get better. And so I need some strategies, and this is a strategy, right? The other strategy is coming out and saying this on here. It gets me accountability, so hold me accountable. Like that's a strategy. And that's why I wanted you to email me, because then I can become one of your accountability people. And over the next year, we're going to develop a lot of new things, have some ideas. Really want to get into doing some small groups because I think that's a way that we can focus on specific topics while also creating that group and community environment. It's something I miss from COVID is not being around as many people. And so I think it's important that we connect. I love having the discussions. And so I'm going to try and set up some interesting little small group stuff. Now, to get notified of those, you're going to have to be on the email list. It's something I'm worried about just kind of blasting it out on Twitter and creating links directly to some of these things, because I really want to make sure that I can control who sees them. I don't want to have people showing up, trolls showing up. Not that people couldn't show up as trolls, but if it's the email list, then I can isolate it and know sort of who to block, if that makes any sense. So we can get these groups going, but in a way that is healthy and productive. So if you haven't already, you can go to aftergambling.com and sign up for the email list. Also going to be doing some free coaching sessions. So if you want to kind of be in the mix for some free coaching, I'll be trying to get some of that going. That's going to help me to figure out some of the strategies of coaching. I have a framework that I really like. It's called Jumpstart, which is 6 sessions to work through. And I'll cover that in one of the future episodes. But ultimately, if you want to be on some of these things be notified about availability for coaching, be notified about when there is a small group session, be notified about an upcoming webinar or some other resources, definitely sign up for the email list. That's going to be the number one way that I communicate with everybody and start getting some of these things set up here over the next year. So please go check that out and subscribe there. Other than that, man, it feels good to be here recording. It's been far too long. And as I said, keep me accountable. And actually, it's Jim, right? Like Jamie's responsible for keeping Jim accountable. So help me attack this little monster that loves to come and show up and create havoc, because I don't really want him anymore. And whoever your little monster is, your little nemesis, I don't want you to have them ruining your life either. So let's attack these little creatures, these little nemesis, these alter egos, and let's start living the life that we really want to live. That's what I'm setting out to do. Like I said, let's make it a lifetime thing, but let's tackle it. Hey, it's one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one moment at a time. In so many ways, the same thoughts that I had of, okay, I could gamble today, but I'm choosing not to, which was my high five and then celebrate. I'm doing the same thing with Jim. Whenever I start to see a Jim behavior, I'm like, there's Jim. And I'm like, not today, Jim. And then I go finish the task. I do what Jamie wants to do. I do it in the way Jamie wants to do it. So hopefully this framework makes some sense. We'll continue to talk about it. I would absolutely love your feedback on it. And definitely those names. I want to see what those names are. I want to see some creativity on the names. So hopefully I'll be seeing some of those in my email. My email is jamie@aftergambling.com. You can email me your names, your list, and I'll probably create a little template too at some point where you can start to identify those nemesis habits versus the habits of you, who you truly are. Now, as I have said many of times, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a financial guru, I'm none of those things. I'm just a guy that had a gambling problem, is now trying to improve my life after gambling. So please go seek professional help. This is for informational purposes only, hopefully give you some ideas, get you started, kind of bring this stuff onto your radar, right, is my goal. To then help you then go out and find the people, the resources that you need to take those next steps. And finally, music for the show is Something Elated by Broke for Free and is licensed under the Creative Commons license. My name is Jamie, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.